the feet. Right, Diane knows, Scott knows, Bill and Andrea know. As a sports massage practitioner, we can actually work on a foot for an hour and a half, just a foot. So when we get people turning up for sports massage and they're like, I'll have a full body, it's like, have you got a day? Do you know how tiring that's going to be? The foot is a very, very complicated thing, guys. When you think there's consultants and surgeons and all they do is the feet. They are our tires and we've got to look after them. Do we? No, we don't. A comfy pair of shoes are the oldest ones we've got. We put them on because we think, yeah, that feels good. The amount of problems they're giving us with the posture through the body. That's why being fit is barefoot exercise, okay? Because the foot learns to be in contact with the floor. You put a pair of socks on and the balance, the brain goes with what's between the foot and the floor, the sock, the trainer or the shoe. For what sports we do, we've got these fantastic scientists who go out there, take all these different computer studies, look at stuff, look at the body, look at the postures, and they design a shoe for that occasion. What we've got to do is find what suits us. And I'm afraid sometimes it can take years, a long time, to find a runner's shoe that you put on, you go, wow, this is the one for me. And it doesn't have to be the most expensive, all right? So let's start with the shoes first, and then I'll do a bit about a couple of foot treatment questions I've been asked. Am I recording doing that? Let me press that there. That's done. I just got to stop that. Yesterday's session, by the way, I woke up in the night. We were doing isometrics for 17 and a half hours yesterday, by the way. All right, so shoes. When we've not got we're around the living rooms. I like doing bare feet, and a lot of you guys do as well. When I'm doing a circuit training class in a gym, and I get people turn up, and I'll be like, right, and I start giving them a lecture about footwear, and I get people look at me, they're like, hang on, I've paid good money here for this guy to work me out, and he's talking about my feet, because they turn up in the wrong trainers. For circuit training stuff, right, we are doing this a lot of all over the place, and we want to be balanced. Who does that more than anybody else? The tennis player, okay? Tennis shoes, pay what you want for them. They're the best ones. Do you remember the old Dunlop Green Flash and Amber Flash and all of those? A bit like that. If you're doing stuff in a gym and you're going left and right, cheap, good, and the best shoe you can get for that. They're canvas, they're good quality, and what I mean, it's good stability through the foot. Super, super tread on the bottom, not so much that it's so sticky when you twist, you don't want that knee joint getting pressure on there. And that's the same as you get a shopping trolley with a wonky wheel and you soon know it starts getting, it's the knees it goes to get, okay? So that one, and that's designed there. So it's stable that direction and that direction. What it's not good at doing is landing on the heel, pushing off the toe, transferring power from the heel so you get maximum spring forward. It's a stability shoe for all directions, all right? So transfer that to everyday life. If you're living in a part of London, for example, any city, and the small towns, the paving slabs in part of Liscard, uneven. If that's your ground, you've got to think, that's what I walk on most of all. You need a nice, stable shoe. What you don't want is a runner's shoe. There, that's my old triathlon shoe. Okay, we'll come to the build in a minute. Now, it's old, I've had it years, okay? I wear it as a slipper, I use it in the garden these days. That is good for stability from here to there. That's what it's designed to do, not outwards, in and out. And you'll get people in a gym or in a situation where they're on uneven ground, and if it's a runner's shoe, they're going to do their ankles. And when you watch them walk, you will see them going and pronating over left, sometimes in, but mainly outwards, because they're not designed for that. But for running, they are fantastic, okay? The first one, tennis shoe, that's canvas, everyday use. This one, why a triathlete shoe? It's almost non-existent material on top, guys. There's massive holes there, and as soon as I put that on, there's a draft coming through. The temperature inside your shoe can reach about 130 degrees at the toes. That's why, so you think the temperature your body's got to get rid of. So when we talk about return of circulation, good return of circulation, cooling for the feet, really important. So that's what that's there for. In the winter, this is a complete nightmare, because I get my foot wet and it's freezing, and you don't want that. But summertime running shoes like this, that's what they're there for, maximum ventilation through the foot. Some people don't like it, however, they don't let their feet getting wet, okay? That's what that one for. That's a triathlon. And of course, it's super light. Now, on this shoe, I ran with this one for about 12 weeks. Then I stopped. Because I was doing a lot of running, you're talking about 10, 12 miles a day, the heel here, now at that time I stopped, it looked brand new. It looked at you, people will say, what? Well, I'll have them. The heel had gone. The absorption in that heel, what's designed to do, had gone. And what you'll find with a running shoe is this part can tend to look a bit hollow because it's taken all the impact and like a horseshoe, if you like, around here. So you hit it here, it comes forward. That gets squashed down. So a lot of people go by how good, if the shoes look good, I'm going to wear them. Wrong, you don't do that. And the best test for that is you go to your local one we can get in the shops, you go to your trainer shoe shop, you go to the shelf, pick a pair that look like yours, same make, put them on, and if you feel a difference, your shoe's got to go. Now, if you are the person who's using them for a lot of working out, I normally have 3 pairs. So I'll have a pair of shoes that I wear all the time, every day. I've got a pair that I wear in the house with slippers, and I've got a pair in the box on the shelf ready to go. And I work them down like a conveyor belt. I do it that way. And that way, the ones I'm wearing as slippers, and people say modern ones, you don't have to break them in. You do, because the Vibram sole in the bottom, that bit, that goes to the shape of your foot, your own personal foot. And you can see on there where my toes go. That'll be settled in, your foot will be bedded in, you can put them on straight away and off you go. And for Scott, he knows the modern football boot is more or less exactly the same, okay? On the football boot, guys, in the days of them being leather, Billy in his boots and all the rest of it, very, very few foot injuries. The modern football boot is very much akin to this, but it's got stability built in left and right by the way the structure of the sole. Because of that, and making it super light, that's why footballers are very prone to metatarsal injuries and so many foot injuries these days. On that one, they're working on that by bringing the ankle back up. Where's that come from? They're going back to the old style Billy boots with the cork studs, believe it or not, from the 1920s, and copying the ankle support and bringing that in there. So things do a full circle. What changes is technology, scientists being now involved, and materials, all right? So your running shoe and your all-in-one shoe. The one which the really serious one to look at these days for everyday life, and that you're looking at a fell running shoe, a trail running shoe, something of that ilk, okay? Now, you can pay what you want for these. Look about, I use sportshoes.com because I get last year's colours. Now, trail running shoes. The best ones I've found, running shoes for me, the ones I use, I always use ASICS or ASICS, whatever you want to. ASICS gel, that's one. Now that's their branding on the side, that's their logo. I found that one to suit me for the best, no matter what, for running. The one I use for everything else, the Nordic walking out and about, and I use Solomon's, okay? They were a skiing company. Now, all of this is not just built in to be fancy. That's to give the foot maximum support. That's designed, therefore, for that and left and right. That's BB's trail running shoe. That's also going to give you landing on the heel, springing off the toe and coming forwards. And that is not there wrapped around there for you to kick the dog or the cat or the door or your neighbor, all right? That's there for you to, when you're springing forward, you actually come off the toe and the shoe works all the way through. If you've got that on a shoe, generally speaking, it's been designed for that, and it'll roll all the way. And it's been all these angles, and not just putting there by machine because it looks good. They're designed specifically that way. So maximum heel absorption, protection, less shock coming up the spine, the foot rolls forward, and all of that's built in to support the foot. So again, we've got modern materials going back to Billy in his boots, how the leather used to support the foot around here, but it's nice and light. The main thing I like about Solomon's is this quick release system here, which is coming in more and more. You just pull that down and it's on and it's not going to come off, all right? Materials for this one, you can get summertime ones and winter ones. I always wear Gore-Tex because if I'm out in the mornings and I'm instructing and I get wet feet, I don't want wet feet when I'm off for 8 hours. I want a nice, good pair of dry tires on my feet, if you like. I always go for the Gore-Tex. You pay a little bit more, but the feet breathe and they'll not get wet. If they do start leaking like any Gore-Tex, give it a wash at 60 degrees and it resets the material, because the grain and the dirt that builds into there can allow some stuff through. All right, that's that. Again, it's got the orthodite-like soles in and everything else. Now, with these, all that maximum balance. However, you've got different treads. That one, like the studs, is fantastic for down in Cornwall, out walking your dogs, Nicola, uneven ground, trail paths, anything like that. In London, Scott, walking around the city, Diane, you're not going to get a lot wear out of that. In fact, Phoebe wore this one when we're in London. This is an old one. She had this for about 8 weeks. See the heel? She wore it off. That's gone. You can wear it. When I first got these, I thought, great. I had a nice pair, a blue pair, I think it was. Oh, look at me, it looked fantastic, right? They were no good 3 weeks they lasted, because I was doing a lot of walking instructing. But out and about, cross country, that is the stud. These extra studs are fantastic for your grip, guys. Really, that's what you need. In the city, it's going to be a different one like that. This is, again, is my trail running shoe. This is an ASICS one. This is my summer one, which is not Gore-Tex, which lets a lot of the air through in the top. Laces, okay, but not big one laces. But the tread is different. And the bar across the bottom, again, is not there to look pretty. That bar gives the shoe extra stability left and right. It's the difference between the runner's shoe and the trail running one. And the big other one is, look at the flexibility of that and that. All right, so it's more through here. Now, some will give you different flexibility. This is where it comes down to you look at what your price range is and what you can afford. Then you go for your bracket and try different ones on and walk around. And it might take you 2 or 3 times to find the shoe that works for you. But if you do find the one that works for you, stick with it. Don't change. I've said Solomon's and ASICS. If you like Nike or Nike, whatever you want to call them, or Puma, they're yours. You wear those ones, guys. Trainers or boots. The walking boots, the main thing is they're going to come this high. Ankle stability, yes. However, a lot of people like myself, with the walking boot, when you're out and about in the countryside, you don't do them all the way to the top. I do mine I leave 2 at the top loose. Because I like using as a sports shoe, I like this flexibility coming backwards and forwards, okay? A new shoe that's come out, which is a progression from, Scott knows about, is the football boot. Salomon's are now doing a walker's boot, which I haven't got yet, but I will do. I've got to wear out my old boots first. And that actually has got an elasticated top. That comes from the guys doing ultra marathons in the Sahara. They had to wear gaiters on the top to stop the sand going inside the boot. So you've now got this elasticated bit on the top, and there's a zip at the side. So your foot goes in. They've got a crossover. It's like a ski boot, a Sahara running shoe. It's super light. And they've got 3 different types. Your super lightweight, which would match in with that. The medium one, which would match in with that. And they've got the heavy duty one, like your Gore-Tex, would match in with that. All right. Don't go to your Salomon's website. Salomon's, I'm not doing it. I go to sportshoes.com and look around. There are big sales out there. And if I see different sales, someone knows it. That's with the feet, guys, and that's with the shoes. What I'll do for questions, because we could go on for ages. Once I've gone through this, I know you made a mental note. Fire away when I've finished. Get the text out and answer back to you, okay, with the shoes, about the laces, stuff like that. Leather boots. A lot of people are moving away from leather for if they don't like the animal side of it, the eco bit. The modern leather walking boot and trekking shoe these days is not like the ones 15 years ago. Number one, you shouldn't be wearing any for that old, because the soles are banned. Because the sole of the rubber used to last for 50, 60 years. They were passed on to grandchildren. They were so hard, they used to cut into and wear away the footpaths. They were banned. The leather also used to use stuff called neat's foot. Neat's foot is from animals, or you paint it on. These things were like space boots, clump, 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 super heavy, all right? The modern leather one is a fantastic piece of kit. They're waterproof, and if leather's what you want, and it's breathable, it's natural thing on the foot, and it could feel good. What's between the foot and your shoe is the sock. The best socks for distance I've found are called 1,000-mile socks. Special Forces started wearing those, and the reason being is they've got a sock within a sock. So the liner goes to your foot, and the friction is between the inner sock and the outer one. 1,000 miles does not mean to say it's 1,000 miles between washes. It's 1,000 miles. That's how long it's supposed to last. And there's different lengths as well. Some people on endurance like a compression sock. We talk about return of circulation. When you're out and about, the other thing you've got to look at is a lot of these shoes, you're going to be wearing a shoe like that, and you're doing 15 miles, you're size 7, you're looking at buying a size 8. Your foot will expand by one size. Footballers in the summer, they'll expand. You see lads on a pitch and girls these days in a summer spec running around, oh great. Half time they come off, then they start feeling the studs through the bottom. Then they start feeling the foot because their feet are swelling up, guys. You can't help it. It just does that. 120 degrees can be in these toes, okay, can be there. So the sock is really important. Again, I get these, believe it or not, they're Trago, pack of 5 for about £4. They're the best things I've ever come across, to be honest. I don't get any blisters at all. If I'm doing long endurance stuff, I'll wear 2 pairs, or I'll switch to my 1,000-mile socks. Compression socks, I'm not really bothered about, but distance runners, I'm trying to think of a runner who used to wear them. The world record blonde hair lady, what's her name? Marathon lady. She used to wear compression socks up to her knees. Now you're getting into the realms of psychology as well, all right? When you're doing your sports massage practitioner's course and they tell you when you come up with an athlete, a lot of the times you are the main point of contact with them psychologically, as well as treating the body. And that's to keep them motivated, active, and everything else. And that's the stuff we do in the class as the Fit Club. Exactly the same. It's that psychology bit. So if you like wearing knee-length socks because you're thinking, I go better with those, you might get the same times, the same distances. You wear those knee-length socks. It doesn't matter. If you wear the little socks that disappear into the shoe, you think, I feel good with these. If you feel good, they'll give you problems. That's what you wear because you want to feel good. If you like wearing blue ones or green ones or yellow, wear the ones that you like, that make you feel good as well as the effect. But first off, go with how they feel and how they're working for you. All right. And don't spend loads and loads of money on this year's colors. They make a lot of money out of training shoes, guys, and that's for the young kids. Now, on that one, during my military time, lads, it was the girls who I taught, but they had the same, the boys I taught had the same with the girls when they come through from training. 16 to 33 years old, but the average would be 16 or 17. And the problem we had with them was they were brought up wearing training shoes, and we gave them 2 pair of boots. Bosh, there you go. Now, the boots I wore were the type that Special Forces wear. They were nice, specially designed. I could run for miles with them. They got these boot camp military boots, and they all got injuries, and the injuries were going to their knees and their hips mainly because they'd never had a good pair of leather shoes. Okay, stability all over the place. They weren't used to it. So what they did was the armed forces, the army had one designed for them. And if you remember a one called, I think it was Silver Shadow, Silver something, the military were actually involved in designing that one. It was a good training shoe on the street. So when they joined, they were given these training shoes. Bosh, off you go. Then they found the youngsters today had wore training shoes, but they'd never exercised in them. So all they did was they moved the injuries to the ankles away from the knees and the hips. So a lot of it can come into that. And that's where it comes into wearing a second pair around the house as a pair of slippers if you're changing over. All right. So that's it basically on the shoe. We're going for a long, long time. It's so technical that the last Nordic walking conference I went to, they said, we've got a guy here, his shoe company designed a Nordic walking shoe. So I'm like, oh, this could be interesting. So what color is that going to be? And he said, no, what we thought is the average shoe from heel to toe is 12.5 degrees. For Nordic walking, it should be 13.75. And I'm like, if I've got to start teaching people that, it's going a little bit too much up there and a bit too far, guys, all right? It was his sales pitch. So beware of that one. On your machines, you're not sure what to do, a good shop will have a treadmill and you can get on there and you can watch, watch how your feet work, do all the tests, and they'll say, you need this shoe and that shoe. Fantastic. It doesn't always work because sometimes the guys are not used to the training. We haven't got the recording material. How I do it is I'll watch people walk towards me and away from me when they first turn up for treatments. Then I take the shoes off them and have a look at them as well. That comes from there. Finally, on there's a difference between doing 5 miles a day, 15 and 20, and each shoe reacts differently. All right. So it's what you want it for, what you want to do, and we take it from there. On that, cracked heels. Okay, cracked heels can build up. There can be medical reasons, obesity, diet. It's a sign of diabetes or potential diabetes as well, if you've got that in your family. How you stand with your posture and how long you stand and how you plant your feet. Now, those of you who are Nordic walkers know about lemon squashing, landing on the heel and rolling the foot. And that we spoke about. If you're not a Nordic walker, we do it in Beam Fit, rolling the foot. And that is to induce and get into you everyday life. You land and you'll roll that foot forward. And that stops you stomping your heels into the ground, which is one of the biggest reasons people get their heels. It's horrible. And that cracked heel, you start getting, it's painful, guys, that horrible thick skin. So if you have got that and it is come from your training, you soak it for a good 20 minutes in warm to hot water. Just soak. And something like a loofah, give them a scrub. And then you've got to get some good moisturizing stuff on, whack it on there. I would do it at night time. I'd then put a sock over that so when you get into bed and let it soak in. And you've got to do that at least 2-3 times a week. Don't overdo it and keep your training up because you might have to drop the walking down because as that skin comes down, it seems a bit weird. You've got to get rid of the old skin, but you've got to get the new stuff there as well to generate. And that's got to get muscle memory in. That's with the heels, okay, on that one. And the other one is the sole of the foot. Right. The best way to self-treat the sole of the foot is use your balls. Tennis ball or golf ball, okay? That's nice and soft, bit firmer on that one. That's the harder one. And the best way is when you sat watching the TV on the floor and get it from, and Diane Scott's done this, and I think Bill and Andrew at the same time, and you roll your foot around it. How much? Pain score, just off the pain. So 15 out of 10, really dig it in and work it around the foot. And what you want to do is you put more pressure on from the toe back to the heel, toe back to the heel. The reason being is if you go heel to toe, you're going against the return of circulation, and you want to make that return of circulation come back up the leg. We had somebody this week who had an injury in the class, and they were using, I'm using a foam roller tug, but they were using it wrong. With a foam roller, again, you put the weight on more coming back towards the heart. You work towards the heart, guys. That's how the body's designed, not away from it, okay? So that's with the tennis ball and the golf ball. And the main area, so we're talking about plantar fascia. The plantar fascia is the shock absorber of the foot. And that is, excuse the foot, I haven't been down the allotment. It's in that area there, okay? In there. That shock absorber is really deep. It goes right up. Now, if you get 0.5 millimeter of swelling in the plantar fascia, it's super painful. So some of you know, and where's that come from? Wrong training shoes, overtraining as well, distances, not planting the foot properly, incorrect footwear, okay? BB got hers by doing lots and lots of miles 7-8 years ago. She still got it. One of her plantar fascias is still swollen by 3.5 millimeters, guys, all right? There are treatments out there, but the NHS aren't doing them. They haven't got the money, all right? You have to go private, it costs lots and lots of money. Treatments for those plantar fascia is what I've just said, the golf ball or the training shoe. If ever you've had any of those sort of the heels or the plantar fasciitis, problems with sole of the feet, once you massage it and it goes, you can't stop because you're prone to it, it will come back. You've got to make it a maintenance thing and you come back. And again, those of you guys who've had treatments from myself and baby know that we get you looked after, get you sorted, but then if you don't come back every couple of weeks, it starts creeping back in again because it's part of being an athlete and you're all athletes. Okay, we're not Mo Farahs up there, We might be down here with the grasshoppers, but we're still athletes to our own level, all right? So you've got to maintain and look after the body, the same as getting the car serviced and MOT. And a good car starts with the tires, and that's the training shoes, and then maintenance of the feet, and that works up through the body. And that little bit there will solve and stop so many injuries, spinal things, hips, up into the base of the skull even, by having and looking after those areas. Okay, I could go on for ages, but we're going to call it a day there. Any questions, guys, on a postcard, please, and I'll get them back to you. You text them, email them, whatever, and I'll get back to you, okay? Not a problem. If it goes on to the clinic, remember, in the monthly class, you can have a free 20-minute, half-hour clinic, be able to talk through stuff like that. If you think I've got these treatments, if I'm pronating, if I need to have a bit of a look at, can you watch me walk up and down the living room? What's wrong? Is it my knees? Is my left leg coming out too far? All of that, because we can correct it. But you beamers, a lot of that has been corrected over the last 8 months because we work in these straight lines with the feet and the planting. And like in Annabelle's case, long-term walker, Dan's done a lot as well, and Andrea and Bill, from your Nordic walking, a lot of the stuff that we do has resolving those problems well. On the last one, the trainers that came out with the heels chopped off, there was 2 different ones. When they first come out, guys, the advertising for them, and in anything sporting, you always aim at women. And what they said was, wear these, it'll raise the butt up for you. Oh, great. And they saw lots of them, all right? If you know how to Nordic walk and squash lemons, that is what you're doing anyway, all right? No need to. Some people like them, and if you do, Skechers, fantastic. If that's the shoe that works for you, that's what you wear. The problem they've got is, where that wedge is, it's trying to make the foot work in a certain way. And if your foot doesn't pronate that way, the ankle and the knee and the hip are not going to like it too much, all right? So worth getting checked out for that one on those ones. Do you need them? No, you don't. Normal ones, by walking correctly, by squashing the lemons, by landing on the heel, rolling the foot forward, is the same thing. Having said that, I wish I designed a Sketcher about 15 years ago. I'd be a millionaire by now, all right? But what works for you guys? Thanks for your time. Be safe. I'm going to send this out. I'll put this out to the group generally, so you can go back through again. Again, any questions, you let me know. Have a fantastic day. All right, good stuff.
Thanks, Tug.
Thanks for your time, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, Doug.
Thank
Be
you, Tug.
safe. Cup of tea now and some porridge.
Cheers,